Right, I think it's a good time to get started. Hello, everyone. We're very excited to have you here. My name is Jasmine, and I am the founder and CEO of Revitaled Reintegration Services. Hope we're all feeling good. If we could get some thumbs up, some smiley faces, let's gauge how people are feeling about tonight. Uh, it's Friday, so that's always makes me happy. So hopefully you're feeling good. Awesome, we got some thumbs up. All right, so we're here tonight to learn a bit more about banking and our financial health, which are essential pieces to our overall well-being. Tonight's workshop is presented by Revitaled in collaboration with TD Ready Commitment and ABC Life Literacy. But before handing it over to our facilitators for tonight, we just wanted to give you all a bit more information about Revitaled. But before we even jump into that, we just want to take the time to acknowledge our presence in space with the land that we are on today. Many of us are settlers on this land that we live and we work on, and at Revital, we find it essential to the work that we do to acknowledge the privilege that we have to be on these spaces to conduct the work that we're really passionate about. So Revitaled Reintegration Services acknowledges that the land that we are on in Durham forms a part of the traditional territory of the Mississaugas and the territory that is covered by the Williams Treaty. We are thankful to be welcomed on the land of the peoples of Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation in friendship. We respectfully acknowledge that that the history of these lands is scarred by the mistreatment of Indigenous people, and we dutifully recognize our responsibility to work together with Indigenous communities to achieve reconciliation, unity, and equity. All right, so Revitaled is a fairly new organization. I do see some familiar names tonight. I do see a lot of new names as well. So I'm happy to share some information about who we are and what we do. So Revitaled is a Durham-based nonprofit that provides support programs and services to individuals who are navigating all areas of the justice system. We support those who come in contact with the policing and court systems, as well as victims and survivors of crime, formerly incarcerated individuals, and those who have received non-imprisonment sentences. So while we are Durham-based, we provide support to individuals across Ontario through outreach programs, resource development and sharing, counseling, coaching, and other in-house programs, as well as referrals with community partners. So at Revital, we acknowledge that the justice system is challenging to navigate. Whether you are being released from custody or you're speaking with a police officer or you're trying to seek justice or reparations after experiencing victimization. So our goal is to build safe, positive, and healthy communities where all people can thrive by helping to increase access to essential tools and resources to help clients reach their goals. There's many factors that can cause someone to get influenced or to become developed or to begin practicing crime or criminal behavior. And we believe that access to financial education is something that affects offenders. So lack of information on how to manage finances, for example, can lead someone to engage in criminal activity. Access to financial education is something that also affects those who've lost family members due to crime or incarceration. And though Revitaled is a nonprofit that focuses on those who navigate the justice system, we found it important to open this workshop to all members in our community. Part of our organization's mandate is to support the growth and development of safe and healthy communities for everyone. And we believe that this workshop can help us to achieve this mission, as financial health is crucial to our overall health and well-being. So, as I mentioned before, we are a new organization. We launched in the beginning of August of 2021. And for now, we're a small team. I'm here tonight as well as our other staff members, Tashana, our administrative manager, and Chetty, who is our operations director, as well as counseling lead. And so I'm going to play a quick video for everyone just to further highlight some information about who we are and what we do. I promise it won't take long at all. So get comfortable. Feel free if you'd like to take this time to, again, grab a pen or pencil or snack or anything that you'd like. Please. No. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if the video is going to let me play. Technology never really works when you need it to.
Welcome to Revitaled
There we go.
Reintegration Services. Revitaled Reintegration Services is a nonprofit organization that provides support programs for people exiting correctional institutions.
Our health program provides support to individuals, families, and communities affected by crime.
We also provide support for individuals who have received non-imprisonment sentences and are looking for guidance to determine their next steps.
What do? We help clients find long-term housing.
We help clients find long-term employment and develop high-demand occupational skills. We aim to enhance knowledge and learning capacity through free workshops, webinars, and vocational skills courses.
We encourage and foster positive mental and physical health.
Our one-of-a-kind counselingship program provides free informal counseling and connections with lived experienced mentors for guidance. We help clients to become independent and self-sufficient through our free everyday living assistance programs and workshops.
We utilize a holistic and culturally informed approach to encourage positive internal and external transformation.
Don't hesitate. Connect now.
My apologies, I was muted. Okay, I've taken enough of your time. I'm very excited to be introducing our facilitators for tonight's workshop. I'll start with Prakash. So Prakash has been working to promote financial literacy and financial inclusion in Nepal since 2009. As the founder of FinLit Nepal, he's worked with governments, companies, and neighborhood groups to develop programs and policies to boost financial literacy and inclusion in Nepal's financial system. He has been recognized in spaces all over the world for his work in financial equity. Most notably, he was recognized as one of Forbes Asia's 30 under 30 in 2021 and has received fellowship from Harvard Kennedy School in 2017. And we also have Nordia here this evening. Nordia has been with TD Insurance for over 14 years and currently works in the vendor management office as a vendor analyst, I guess, second level? Elevated, a little bit elevated. She's passionate about volunteering and helping others. As part of the TD Ready commitment, which is part of a program that TD uses to help employees get involved with their communities more, Nordia is able to participate in different volunteer opportunities with different communities and not just her own. She has a strong passion for learning and educating others as well. So I'm very excited to be handing it over to Prakash to get started with the presentation for this evening, and then we'll flip it over to Nordia. So just give me 1 second. I can stop sharing for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
And Prakash, I'm just going to jump in once more.
Sure.
I'm hoping we can leave questions until the end, but of course, we understand you have some burning questions that might pop up throughout the presentation. So feel free to include them in the chat and we'll get to them as soon as possible. And yeah, if any of you, Nordia or Prakash, would like to add on to that, please feel free.
Okay. So hi everyone. So yeah, it's me, Prakash. So I'm all the way from Kamloops right now. So happy to meet you all. So today we're gonna talk about money, of course. So everyday life, money is kind of taboo, right? So it's sometimes we don't want to talk to about money to our parents, or we don't want to talk about money to our siblings, a wife, whatever. So the reason I'm advocating this financial literacy is money is kind of our financial freedom. So if you are literate about this, or if you know how to handle these things, you can get all the financial freedom that you want in your life, right? So, but it starts with where you want to start from, right? So everybody has their money, or everybody has some issues with the banking or financial institutions, or everybody has some concept like how we can negotiate with these things. So it will start from the bank account. So I'll tell you one story from Nepal. So there was one guy who was in my workshop. He was like 57 years old, and he was in my workshop for a 3-hour workshop. And then after 3-hour workshop, he asked me, like, I have like a 57,000 rupees, that's Nepalese rupees. Where can I go to deposit that money? So that was the questions from that senior man to me, right? So the reason I'm sharing this story is everybody has money, but they don't have idea where to go to put that money, or where they don't have idea how to make more money from whatever they have right now. So in that case, bank is the best place where you can get lots of idea how you can grow your money, right? So while talking about this, we need to understand how our banking system works in, especially in Canada, right? And also, what are your rights related to bank account or checking account or saving account? What you can get from them, or how we can choose the right bank account which works for you, or how you can choose the your financial advisor who can guide you to get the right product from the bank, right? Or maybe how you can keep yourself protected, or how you can put your money into the safe way so that you can have access to that in the right time when you need that, right? So so banks, so I don't know, like, I don't think like I need to explain whole like how bank works for all of you. I'm pretty sure you know that things, but yeah, but having said that, I'll just quickly go with that thing. So this is, bank is simply like they will take cash deposit, lends money, provide other money services, right? You can just set a bank account at the bank. So bank is basically working as a mediator. So bank will take money from people and also give money to the people as well. So it will just take as a mediator, as a mediator, and which can provide the services to the people, right? And bank has a bank, like you can open a bank account, and bank account is I think this is the safest way to place your money, or to mobilize your money in your daily life. And bank has different kind of bank account, like saving account or checking account. And on the basis of that, you can decide where you can put the money in. So while working in the, I was working with the TD for a couple of months before, and then I noticed that most of the people they have confusion, right? Which kind of bank account they want to open, checking account or saving account, right? The question here, the tips I want to give here right now is, it's very simple. So if you are looking for day-to-day banking transactions, if you are looking for like everyday transactions, you can go with the checking account. But if you're looking for something particular, you want to save some money and you want to do a very limited transactions over the month, over the period of time, then go for the saving account. The reason I'm saying is this is the checking account and saving account has its own cost. So this is the product from the bank. So bank will charge the fee, right? Bank account fee. So, but like, for example, in TD, if you're looking for a saving account, they don't charge for your saving account. If you're looking for the checking account, on the basis of your need, what kind of transactions you want to do, or what kind of transactions, what kind of facilities you want to take from the checking account, on the basis of that, they will decide which checking account is the best for you. So checking account also has a different kind of category, and saving account also has some kind of category. So if you want to open a normal saving account, TD will not charge money on that. But if you want to open a checking account, normal checking account, TD will charge some money on that as well. So I would say, so before going to bank and before opening a bank account, think about yourself. What kind of transactions you want to do? What are your needs? What are your wants? So for example, if somebody force you to open an unlimited checking account, but you are not the persons to do like more than 12 transactions, or you are not the persons who always you don't do any e-transfer or maybe a wire transfer or something like that, then that account is not for you. If you are the persons who always go with more transactions, you need a more e-transfer facility, more wire transfer, maybe you need to write some check and all this stuff, then you need to decide like those kind of facility as well, right? So I would suggest there is a gap in terms of talking to the people. So I would say before going to bank, before getting some services from the bank, always try to find out what kind of transactions you want to do with that bank over the period of time, or what kind of facilities you want to take from them, and what is the cost inside that, right? So every time when you open a checking account, always try to see what is the cost and try to find out, is that something you are looking for, or is that something you can afford for? Because I noticed when I was in bank, so most of the people, they open an unlimited checking account and they ended up with the not paying the monthly fee, and then they charge non-sufficient NSF fee every month, right? So that way you will get nowhere. So I would suggest every time when you go to the bank or when you try to open some account, try to find out what is the best for you. Okay. So let's start from here. So getting in touch with your money, so how it works. So let's say I have a bank account and I'm going to the bank, then I would probably want to bank account if I knew more about them. And banks make me more comfortable, so I use cash store. I need money. So let's try one thing here. So how many of you are comfortable using cash, and how many of you you are using comfortable with the card? Let's go with that first. Because I start talking. So I just wanted to know how many of you are comfortable with that.
So we do have some responses. Some are more comfortable with the card.
It depends on the price.
Yeah.
Okay, Zaid, I want to touch base on your point. So it depends on the price. So I'm sorry, is it okay if I disclose your points to everybody?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah. So the reason I'm saying, like, I really appreciate your comment there. So it depends on the price. So what do you think, like, if they are charging high price and they are charging low price, and is that like, will that define your ability to use the card, or can you share a little bit on that?
Well, I think about it in the terms of like, okay, because I'm a little bit older, like, for example, my teeth, like, that's not something I could pay cash with. It's a little bit too much. So I would just use my card, right? Like my credit card. But if it's something where I'm going to the corner store to get like a drink or something, I'm not going to go out of my way to use my debit cards. I'll just put together the change just to buy it up front. So that's what I meant by like, it depends on what like I'm purchasing, like, you know?
Perfect. Thank you so much for your feedback. So Jade, I have a quick suggestion for you here. I'm not like, it's not like you have to follow on that, but the tips that I want to give you is no matter how much money you want to spend, always think about what kind of reward that you can get from that. So for example, if you're using TD, I'm not like promoting TD right here, but that's just a simple idea, just a simple example. If you're using TD bank account card, TD cashback, then every dollar you spend, you'll get some reward. So why don't you use a reward card instead of just paying cash, and you will not get anything, right? So always think about, like, no matter how much money you spend, or no matter how much money you how much money you want to you are buying or selling, whatever. So that doesn't matter at all. So just think about how much reward you can get, or how much return you can get, even when you are spending money, right? There are certain cases in your life, if you are spending money, but at the same time you are getting some reward as well, right? You can relate your experience as well. So sometimes, for example, yesterday I spent like $100 in the grocery store, but I get 20,000 points out of that as well. So that is something you always have to think about. So every time when you use your cash or card, think about, how can I get the reward out of that? No matter how, like, if that is like 20 cents or 10 cents, that's okay. Because with that 10 cents or 20 cents, you'll get $1 at the end, right? So always think about how you can collect rewards when you are spending money. And that goes into your checking account or saving account. So yeah, thank you. So if you are using checking account, always think about if your card is linked to that checking account or saving account, because most of the time, like customers' card is linked to the saving account, and they ended up paying every time they use a debit card, they ended up paying extra fee on that as well. So always make sure which account is linked with your debit card, which account is linked. So I'm pretty sure when you go into the store, sometimes they're going to ask you options, whether that is checking account or saving account, right? But if you already ask the bank, and then if you already gave your permissions to the bank, like, hey, I want to link this account to this card, then you don't, they are not going to ask that option, right? So always make sure which card is linked into your which account category. So, and then that way you can get the money, and then that way it's all about like how you can work for your money, right? Okay, thank you. And let's go with another one here as well. Let me go here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what do you think people might feel uncomfortable when they talk about money? Why do you think people might feel uncomfortable when they talk about money? Can I have some hands up here? Or maybe some people can share some ideas, some experience as well. Let's see. We can come up.
Hi, Prakash. Jade has her hand up. And we also have a comment in the chat as well, not having enough of it.
Mm-hmm. So let's go with the Jade here. Oh, yeah, sorry. The question was like, here is the question. So what do you think, like, why do you think people might feel uncomfortable when they talk about money? Okay. And not knowing how to manage it. Okay, I'll come up with that. Okay, so Jasmine, I'll take Jade questions later, okay? Otherwise, I'm gonna mess up everything. Okay, so not knowing money, knowing how to manage this, and what date? Okay. Okay, so honestly, this is not everybody. This is not like your problem only. This is everybody's problem, right? So I was talking to my mother last evening. She is in Nepal. Now I asked her like how much because they were planning some housewarming party in my family, and then I asked them like how they're planning for that, and then she said like, oh, lots of things. I don't want to talk about that. So people want to celebrate, but people don't want to talk about money. That's the main problem, and I think that is the stumbling stone, I guess, that like that divide the feelings of the people. So I would say, if you are comfortable with sharing your happiness with everyone, you have to comfortable with sharing your money story to your closed one as well. Right? So in that way, you can share what is happening there. What are the lessons that you learn when you are managing those things, or what are the things that you are not comfortable with that, or what is the things that you want to take some ideas, some advice from your senior or from your junior, whatever you want, right? So that should be the idea. And then this should have more being embarrassed to mention how much they have. So here is the point, canarsie, right? So here is the point. So if you don't want to disclose, like personally, as a financial educator, you don't need to tell how much money you have in your bank account. Just get the overall idea. Just start with the open-ended questions to everybody, like if you are comfortable with one. So don't share like, hey, I have this much money, what should I do? Don't do that. I would suggest start with open-ended questions, how they are managing with that, or how they are being successful in terms of getting some stock, or managing money, or managing their financial diary every day, something like that. Start with the open-ended questions, and then you can start with the getting some idea on that as well. Okay, and then where is that another question here? Okay, Perfect. So I hope I answered a little bit questions there. And then what might help people feel more comfortable? So what do you think, what can help you feel more comfortable when in terms of talking money? Do you have any idea? Good. Okay. Okay, so I would say, yeah, let's go with that here as well. Way to save or how to save. Okay. Learning more about it. So you guys are awesome. So like when you start talking about date, or when you start talking about like how people can save money, like lots of people can be I would say expert. They will start giving their lecture. Hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you can do. Something like that, right? So, and then also by making more and being able to teach other how to handle money, of course. And then there is one formula I used to give to people when it comes to financial literacy. So when you start sharing your own tips to somebody else, or maybe I would say, if you are trying to if you're trying really hard time, for example, let's go with the financial diary. So if you're really having some hard time to maintain your financial diary, like maintaining your everyday income and expenses in your diary somewhere, if you're having some hard time on that, I would say try to talk to somebody else and try to give the same idea to them. And after 1 week, try to ask them, hey, did you start working on that? And then that way, they say, hey, I started working on that, and it is very easy. And in that way, that reflect their experience to you, and then that will give you the ripple effect. And then you will also start working on that as well. So I would say, if you are having some problem in terms of managing money, but if you know how to do that, then start talking to each other and getting some advice from them as well. And that way, you can get some, you can get some learning points there, and you can also overcome some barriers there as well. So I always encourage, like, so to share some tips and tools to your loved ones or my dear ones, and then always try to get their advice from them, and then try to see how that reflect in your daily life as well. Okay. And then how do you feel when you talk about money? How do you feel? Like stress, or maybe like you feel more comfortable? How do you feel when you talk about money? I would say, how do you feel when you talk about money inside your house? Okay, Tasna, I know it's really hard. Getting out of debt is really tough, but there's nothing in your life which cannot, overcome. So always remember, there is one thing, like everything is possible, So you are not aware about what Prakash is going to share with us as study, right? You're pretty sure you're gonna participate in this workshop, but you are not sure what Prakash is going to share some tips and tools about managing money, right? So something is certain and something is uncertain. So I think life is in between in that, and always make sure this will pass somehow, but you have to figure it out, like how you can manage your stress in that point of life. I know getting out of debt is really, really hard, no matter how much money you owe, like for example, 5,000 or 10,000 or even like $100. But always make sure you have some plan, you have some idea, and you have some gut feeling, like you can overcome with that, and then always try to see what kind of extra source of money you can always get. You can always make extra source of money. Always think about that as well. So there's one question: how do you feel when you talk about money, from Jasmine? So Jasmine already put the question there. So I would be great if you can get, if we can get some feedback from the participants. Like I will also add some points on that as well. So how do you feel when you talk about your money with your parents or with your siblings? Absolutely, absolutely, Candice. That's very true. Awesome, awesome, Gabriela. I feel good when I talk of money. It moves you. Exactly. When you start talking to money, it keeps moving you. It keeps moving you. That's really good point. Very, very true. Thank you. And then, yeah, and then exactly. Justin also mentioned that we love to celebrate success, but struggle are harder to share. But it should be very comfortable to share a struggle with your loved one as well. So if you have a wife, or if you have a husband, or if you have a partner, try to share whatever you have, whatever you are going through. So that way you can divide your stress as well. So yeah, I know there's nothing free, but there's one thing is free, that is your thinking power. Your mind is free, right? So always think about lots of resources, always think about lots of positive things, always think about like how people are going through and how people make success on that as well. Always think about the people who are not like rich, who are not like wealthy, but who are like a medium, and then they gone through everything. So always make an inspiration for somebody who is going through all the struggles, and that way you can get some inspiration from them. Okay. And how do you feel when you visit a bank? Next questions, and then I think I will jump in another question as well. How do you feel when you visit the bank? I have a really good point here. Literally poor. Don't think that way. So bank is also poor. Bank is not like rich guy. They are also getting money from other people, and they are distributing that money to other people as well. So they are just, as I said before, they are just a mediator. Don't think like bank is something and you are nothing. Think about like they are just there to support you. They are a support factor. So when I was in a bank, I always encourage customer to start talking to me, to share some ideas. Like if you're a newcomer into Canada, always try to share how you used to do your banking in your own country and how you are expecting from that bank as well. Always try to share that way. Okay. And always try to get really close to the person who is helping you to open a bank account. And overwhelmed and intimidated, I feel that. And yeah, and then that way always try to share like what kind of facilities you use to get that from the bank or something like that. And depends on account balance. So I totally understand Tasna, but it also depends with your feeling as well. It also depends with your motivation as well, right? So if you have a like $100 in your bank account, why not making some plan to make like that $100 into 500 into next 3 months? Always try to think in that positive way. So if you go on through all the richest people all over the world, they always say only one thing, that is always think positive when it comes to your money. So if you have a $10, don't think like, oh, I have a $10, I'm very poor guy. Don't think that way. Always think about, oh, at least I have a $10, right? And then always try to think like how you can make more of that $10 as well. Think about that way. Okay, and how do you feel when you use online banking? Thank you. Comfortable. Okay. Convenience. Things easier. Okay. Very convenient. Awesome. And I would add in control. Perfect, Zed. And I would add always try to see those things like when you are using online banking account, always try to do, ask a couple of questions to yourself. Why I'm using it? Why I'm giving lots of information to this system, or why they are taking it? Always try to understand the behind the scenes as well. So I know when you open the bank account or when you go with the online banking account, bank will give you some privacy agreement. Always try to understand what that privacy agreement means for you, or why you are giving information to somebody else, or how your information is protected, or how you're gonna protect yourself when it comes to fraud and all this stuff. So for example, if you're paying like $50 for some online purchase, but that $50 purchase like is not like a real, then how are you going to visit the bank and how are you going to complain that $50 transactions? How are you going to get the refund? You know, always try to ask, and always, I would say, always try to be vigilant on that things when you are using online banking account. Always try to see with the two lens, like why you are giving those informations and how you are feeling confident with that, or how you can do better, or how you can protect yourself when you are doing a banking transactions, online banking transactions. Always think about that as well. Okay. Turning your bills, feel like okay. Okay, so there is one thing here. So Tanzin is here, so let's go with that. Tanzin receives a tax credit interest. The email, the mail from the government of Canada is served on the cash, and he needs money now. There is a bank open across the street. Tanzin doesn't think he can cash his check there because he doesn't have an account at that bank. Tanzin remembers that he has gone to a cash store before to get cash advance, so he decided to visit the cash store again. So on the basis of this conversation, thank you, Jasmine. So on the basis of this conversation, what do you think? Like, Tanzin will Tanzin get the cash from the bank, or will Tanzin get some difficulties in terms of cashing the check, or why he is getting the government of Canada, tax credit things? Always think about that way. Always think about those things. Okay. So let's go here. So let's go with the first here. So what is cash store? So cash store is sometimes called payday lender. So it's a business. It's a business that cash checks or lends you money for free. So and the fee is often much more than you would pay at a bank. The money you get from a cash store is called cash advance or payday loan. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about that. And interest is a fee someone pays to borrow money. So when you get a loan or use a credit, you need to pay back the amount you borrowed plus interest. The amount of interest is usually shown as a percentage of the money borrowed. Okay, so here there's a percentage. So money math. So how we can calculate interest and percentage. So for example, let's go here. So how are you going to do this? Multiply, divide, add, all these things here, right? So how are you going to calculate the interest? This is here. So for example, if you have like a 50, if you're taking 50,000, okay. So if you're like original, so for example, if you are owing like if you're borrowing $100, but the interest is 500, then what is the amount here? 50,000 here, right? Okay, I think I'm too much here. Okay, so I'll just take these questions from here first. Okay, perfect. So anyone have questions here? If anybody has a questions here. Okay, so can anybody jump in to share what exactly this works? Do you guys have any questions? You can also look at in your workbook as well. So because this is a math things, and mathing, if I try to a little bit squeeze or do that, then it will be so more complicated. Do you have any questions on this slide? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're good to go, Prakash.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So, okay, so let's go here. What if the same loan costs you 600%? So there's interest here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so I want to jump in here. So a Canadian bank must cash your Government of Canada check for free, even if you are not a customer. Is this true or false? Let's do some debate here. and let's ask questions. Why? Okay, not only the true or false, or why why the government of Canada check, why the Canadian bank has to cash the government of Canada check. What is the rule behind that? We have to, we'll discuss about this. Let's get some idea first. So is this true or false? True with ID, perfect. Okay. Is there anybody who has some different opinion, like false, or maybe what kind of ID do we need to bring? Just one ID or one pieces of ID or two pieces of ID? Why? And then why bank asked that ID as well? Okay, I will jump in here then. Okay, so the Canada, I would say the Canada banking system is the like a number one all over the world. I guess they have very strong strong pillar in terms of managing all these ecosystem here in the Canada, which is real, like, you know, really appreciated by all over the world. So let me jump in here. So if anybody has a government of Canada check, for example, like any like a tax things or anything, like any government of Canada check, Canadian bank has to cash that. So because Canada has a policy is access to basic banking. So if nobody has a bank account with the, if you don't have a bank account with that bank, but if you have the government of Canada check, then you have a right to cash that check. But it has a limit, like how much money you can cash that from there as well. We'll go that later. But what kind of ID do we need? We need two pieces of ID, which the reason we're asking for that ID is we just want to validate the customer in front of the teller there in the bank, right? So if the person is there with the government of Canada check, then the teller will always ask you your two pieces of ID. One is driving license, maybe, or maybe another is like maybe health card or something like that. But they always ask for two pieces of ID so that they can verify your address, they can verify your driving license number, they can verify your every personal information from there. Okay, and they will also ask you to sign on the back of the check. And then also they will also write your check number, your phone number and driving license on back of the check as well before they scan the check in the scanner. So this is the reason this is, as I said before, so Canada has a policy access to basic banking. So if nobody has a bank account in that bank, but if they have got their check from the government of Canada, they have the right. That is their right. That is the customer right. That is the Canadian people's right. Like they can go to the bank and they can cash the check. Okay, so here is as well. So where do you cash your government of Canada check? So always, I would always ask you to go to the bank, you know, to go to the bank with the two pieces of ID. And do you pay someone to cash your check? No, you don't need to pay anybody. You don't need to pay anybody to pay the check. And how much do you pay? You don't need to do that. I'm 100% sure that if there is any changes on that one, I will cover that. So this is called your money rights, right? So I was talking about access to basic banking. This is your right. So you have the right to cash your government of Canada check for free. You can cash for government of Canada check for free at any bank, even if you don't have the bank account there. So if you are nearby the RBC bank, you can go to the RBC. If you're nearby the TD, you can go to the TD. So you can cash your government of Canada check at any bank in Canada that has customer service representative. So for example, some bank, like let's say, the reason that point is there is sometimes if you go to the so TD investment, you know, or maybe RBC investment, something like that. So they don't have the customer like a customer service representative, or they don't have the bank teller particularly focusing for the public. So you cannot go there, but you have to go to the, you know, like a physical branch where they have a customer service representative, where they have the banking facility, and you can get the facility and you can cash the check up to $1,500. And then they can bank can decide not to cash it, but they have to give you the valid reason, and they have to give you the paper as well, like why they are not cashing that check as well. But I'm 100% sure that is the rare case in Canada. They will cash it, but as I said, you need to provide sufficient evidence, sufficient reason why you are cashing that, why you are getting that, whether you have a two piece of ID or not. You have to give that information to them. Okay. So So I will hand over to Nuria now. So I'll just jump in. I'll just take rest now. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions if you guys have.
All right, thank you so much, Prakash. Noria, you're up. If you need any help in switching over the screen, let me know.
Okay, so Prakash, you can go ahead and unshare your screen.
Absolutely. There you go.
So I'm just going to go ahead and share mine. Alrighty, so I'll just pick up kind of where Prakash left off. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so on your screen, I know he was talking about like cashing your checks and so forth. So what do you need to cash a government check, right? What if you don't have an ID? What if you don't have two pieces of ID? And I'm sure we're probably all going to have some questions about cashing Government of Canada's checks. So, sorry, we all know we do need the IDs, but the question is, what if you don't? You can still cash your government check by showing two other pieces of ID. Or if you don't have any ID, you can have someone vouch for you, and that is called having like a guarantor. So it would be someone who possibly has an account at the bank that they can let the bank know that you are the person whose name appears on the check, and the bank needs to know that person. So say, for instance, I'm a TD employee, I have my account at TD Bank, and if I know you very well, but I know you don't have ID, and I know you're good with your check, I can go in and say, based on using my ID and my account at the bank, I can vouch for you to say, it's okay, I do know you, and they will cash the check for you. Okay. Now, during the presentation, I know you've been seeing some of these money words popping up, and I'm sure some of you might already. These words might be new to some of you, and some it may not. Okay. So if you have any questions at all, pop them in the chat and just let us know. All right. So money word, photo ID, and this is a piece of identification that has your photo and your signature on it. Some of the IDs that the bank would accept are things like your driver's license or your passport. So anything that has your signature and your photo will more than likely be accepted. If they need additional, then they will always ask you for same. All right. Now on the screen we have, we're just going to have an open communication right now. Some of the questions that I want you to think about so we can have an open, inclusive conversation is, what can make it hard for you to get and keep some kinds of ID? What kinds of ID do you currently have? And could these kinds of ID be used to cash a check at a bank or not? Anyone want to take it away? And does anyone on the call have any form of ID? I've got a driver's license. I've got a passport. Don't feel shy. This is a safe space for you to have conversations. Okay, someone's got an international driver's license, which is good. Health card. So with a health card, it does have our ID, but I can't remember if it has our signature. Some banks may ask for a second piece to go with your health card. Driver's license and passport, right? Someone mentioned onto a purple photo ID card. As long as it has your picture and your signature, definitely. So these are some identifications that we can use at the bank, all right? Now, could these kinds of ID be used to cash a check? It can be used at the bank, and then definitely a native card. So these are things that will definitely be accepted by the bank, as long as they have the signature and the ID, and most of them are government issued, which makes it all perfect. On the screen now, you'll see a list of all the kinds of ID out of what was mentioned before. So we've got our Social Security card number or a SIN card. Your birth certificate can also be used. Old age security card with your SIN on it can be used. A debit card or a bank card that has your signature on it. A certificate of Canada citizenship or a certification of naturalization. and an IRCC form. Now, the IRCC form, I'm not very familiar with that, so I'm not going to try and get into, but if you have questions on that, definitely send them over to Jasmine and her team. They can forward over to us and we can get you some clarification on those, okay? So these are all samples of IDs that can be used to cash a Government of Canada check. And you can also use these IDs to set up a bank account if you're interested in doing so. All right, now we're going to be looking at getting an ID. So getting an ID can be difficult at times, right? Many students have ID clinics to help you apply for IDs. Some may ask, you may ask someone at a local legal clinic or community center if they know about an ID clinic that can help you. You can also try searching online for ID clinics and the name of your city. And I'm sure, Jasmine and her team would probably be able to help you guys with some of these questions as to where to get these, if they have knowledge of where some of these clinics are, that you can get access to them. All right. Next, we're just going to be looking at choosing the right bank account. So earlier, you heard about Tenzin. Now we're going to meet Riley. Riley has 2 children, a 3-year-old son and a baby girl. She receives a monthly Canada Child Benefit check. Riley's thinking about starting a savings account for extra things the kids will need as they get older. She plans to deposit her CCB check into the savings account each month, but Riley doesn't have any extra money right now. She thinks she must wait to open the savings account until she has some extra cash to put into the account. And this activity that we're starting with can be found on page 12. Okay, so think about Riley and let's have our conversation here. Does Riley need to wait until she has extra money to open a savings account? Anyone? Do you think she needs to wait? Thanks, Jade. No, she does not. No. All right. Imagine Riley does not have a job. Does that mean the bank won't let her open a savings account? What do you guys think? No? She doesn't have a job, so you don't think the bank would allow her to open one? Okay, so I've got a few people saying no. Do you guys want to elaborate on why you think the bank would not allow her to open a savings account if she doesn't have a job? I like your response, Canarsie. I like that. That's a good one. And you are right. She can open that bank account as long as she has the necessary identifications that are required. You don't have to have a job. You're not applying for a loan. You don't need a job to open a bank account. Okay. So I love Canarsie's response there. So imagine Riley has had money struggles before and had to declare bankruptcy. Does that mean the bank won't let her open an account now? What do you guys think? Do you think they'll allow her to open it, seeing that she had to declare, say, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, she had to declare bankruptcy? What do you think? Anyone? Will the bank still allow her to open that bank account? Exactly. Yes. Again, as long as she's got the requirements, doesn't need a job, because you could suffer from bankruptcy and now things are going, now for a mortgage, they might have to require additional stuff, right? But for a plain bank account, you should be okay because you're looking to start on a new path and get everything streamlined. So under Canadian law, you have the right to open a bank account. You can open an account even if you don't have a job, you don't have the money to put into the bank right now. So you can open it without giving them a deposit right away. And even if you have declared bankruptcy, and those are some of your rights. I know initially Prakash had said, it's important for you to know your rights. So these are some of the things that it would be good to know. So if you need additional information on this information is from the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, and you guys can always Google that and get additional information. Just remember, information is power, so you can never have too much of it, okay? All right, so it's important to feel good about where you keep your money. So pick a bank wherever you feel like you're treated well. If anything about the bank or the customer service representative makes you uncomfortable, you can leave or ask to talk to someone else. All right. So on the slide, you'll see we have about 4 different questions. Is it hard to open a bank account? 2, do you have a bank account? 3, how do you open your bank account? And 4, what steps will Riley need to take to open her bank account? So I'm going to open this up to the floor, and you guys can just jump right in with your comments. Anyone? Okay.
I don't think it's hard per se, but it can be hard if you don't like have the info that you need up front, I would say.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just had a little visitor here. I'm gonna call her go. Yeah. So it's not very hard. You just have to go into the bank. And again, just like I said before. So prime example, I work for TD, but I'll be the first person to tell you, if you walk into a TD branch and you feel uncomfortable for any reason, and you don't think that's where you need to be, turn around and walk out. Make sure that you are comfortable, right? I always say to people, go in, have questions ready to ask. If you're asking a question and the person you're speaking to is reluctant to answer any of those questions, to me, that's a red flag. Why am I going to put my business somewhere where the person who I'm speaking to does not want my business? No, you have a right. And customer service, TD is big on customer service. So again, it doesn't have to be TD, it could be Scotia, RBC, whichever bank you walk into. Make sure that your questions are being answered and you're comfortable with the responses that you're getting. Don't be prideful, as Mercy had dropped in the chat. Sometimes we get too prideful and we want to know something, but we're afraid to ask the question because we don't want to seem as if, we're less than anyone else. That's the whole point of asking questions, is so that we can know what we don't already know. All right, so we need to get comfortable with that. All right, so how do you open your bank account? You're going to go into the bank, let them know, okay, you're looking to open a bank account. They're going to ask you the different kind of questions. What kind of account do you want to open? What are you kind of use the account for? Because that would help them to assist you making a determination whether you're going to open a savings account, a checking account, or any of the other accounts that is out there, right? Yes, Gabriella, she does need proof of address and ID to open an account, okay? So for Riley, she needs to go in person to the bank of her choice. And as Gabriella said, she would have to have her ID to show to the bank for them to be able to open those accounts for her or account, okay? All right, so typically there are 2 main types of account that we all know about. All right, we've got the savings account and we've got the checking account. Now, you can choose between different types of accounts. So it's the one that is right for you that you're going to choose. The savings account helps you save money. You earn interest on the money you put into this kind of an account. Whereas with the checking account, it allows you to write checks, pay bills, and do other personal money tasks. You won't earn very much or any interest on the money in a checking account. So if you're looking to save and get interest, definitely go with a savings account. Does someone have a question? No? Okay. So just remember, bank accounts are products like anything else that you might buy. Just like how you would walk into, I don't know whether it's a clothes store, electronic store, you want to shop around before you make a final decision, okay? You want to shop around, look at the different banks, look at the different products that they offer. You want to compare the perks and the prices for each bank types of accounts to make sure you're getting the best account for you. So I know Prakash had mentioned earlier on about using cash versus credit card, right? You're going to have a credit card. Try and get the one that appeals more to you and where you are currently in your life, okay? You want to get something that's going to give you the benefits that you don't want to get a bank account, a credit card that's going to give you benefits, say, for air miles, if you're not someone who's going to be flying or taking vacations. No. But if you're someone who is going to be, say, okay, you might get a card that gives you back, whether it's cash back or gives you points that you can turn back into cash, or whatever the scenario is, do your research first. Make it specific to yourself and to your current situation. Ask those questions. No question is a hard question. So make sure that you're asking the questions to answer you're asking those questions to answer what your needs are at the moment in which you need it. All right? Okay. So when you think about bank accounts, it has to think about your money needs and your goals, right? What kind of bank account is best for you and why? And I know you have the workbook, and in the workbook, there's going to be some space that you can drop things in and fill things in. So if you're comfortable and want to, have an open conversation, feel free to either unmute yourself or drop it in the chat. What kind of bank account is best for you and why, if you're willing to share? Anyone? Okay, so I don't mind sharing. For me right now, I kind of do both, right? Yes, Gabrielle mentioned a TFSA. And I like that you mentioned that, Gabrielle. Today, I actually went to the bank earlier on today, and we're discussing that account, right? Versus RESP and so forth. And one of the good things about the TFSA that, that came up is the fact that it's taxed exactly. It is tax free. And I don't know about y'all out there, but if I can save money and spend money without paying a lot more money on top of that, I'm going to be probably the first one in line. All right. So you save your money, you work hard for your money. You work very hard for your money. You already get taxed by the government after you work. So why are you going to want to try and give extra money? So if you can put money aside in a tax-free savings account, then please definitely do so. Thanks, Jasmine. And that's a good point as well, right? So you just have to do your homework and know what is best for you, okay? Do you have a bank account right now? Does it work well for you, or would something else work better? So these are some questions that I would want you to ask yourself, okay? And what depends on what the answer is, then go into your banking institution and ask those questions. Okay, what other products do you have? This is what I have right now. This is what I want to do. This is where my life is at right now. What other products do you have that would be more beneficial for me right now? Okay, so again, no question is a stupid question. The stupid question is the one that was never asked. So feel free and be comfortable to make sure you're asking the right questions as it works for you. Questions that might work for me may not be the same for you. Okay, so you have to remember that. All right. One type of bank account is the low cost bank account, right? So you'll pay a fee to have this kind of account, but you'll get some benefits from it. This kind of account usually includes a maximum number of transactions you can make each month. And the fee for this type of account is usually about $4. And again, depending on the bank that you're banking with. You'll pay extra fees if you use more services or more transactions per month than what your account includes. So sometimes they may cap it at, say, 12 transactions, and that may include both deposits and withdrawals, right? So you got to be careful. If you're someone who does limited banking, then that might work for you. But if you're someone who does a lot, you might want to look into something else that might support that. Okay. Now, many low-cost bank accounts, they may include many fee deposits as you'd like, a debit card, a book of checks, statement, or bank book that shows your transaction each month. I know we've gone quite virtual and paperless with a lot of things. So a lot of banks, they're opting to go paperless, or for you to get a monthly statement, or now they don't even send you a paper statement. They're asking to send you electronic statements, right? Some of them will charge you extra if you actually request a paper statement. So these are some things that you might want to investigate and look into first before you make that final say, right? A small number of free debit transactions per month. Some banks may include possibly 8 to 15 free transactions. And after that, they start charging you maybe $2 or whatever their cost is. Some of them can be in a person with a customer representative as well, right? So again, ask the questions, know what works for you, know what your limits are, know what your expenses are, how much money a month you're spending, and know what you're paying for, okay? Any questions? Okay, perfect. All right, so we've come up on 2 additional money words, and these, actually 3. These are words I'm sure some of you might be already familiar with, right? Transaction is when money moves in and out of your bank account. So each time you make a deposit, it's known as a transaction. When you do a withdrawal, it's another transaction that you're making, okay? A debit card, as we all, I'm sure most of us who have bank accounts might have one, that lets you pay for things electronically, directly from your bank account. So when you use your debit card, the money is withdrawn from your account immediately. A debit transaction is anytime you take money out of your account. All right. So if you use your debit card, for example, to buy something at the store, I think someone is off mute. If you wouldn't mind just muting yourselves, please. Thank you. Right. So you use your debit card, you buy something at the store. It's also known as a transaction. Writing a check, using a bank machine, or paying with, the debit card as well is also different types of transactions. Okay. What else can you do at the bank? Anyone, besides just putting money in and taking money out, what else can we do at the bank? Definitely investment. Anyone else? Yes, we can borrow money. Stocks, yes. Okay. Yes, the bank does offer many different services. Currency exchange, mortgages, most definitely. Lots of different services that are offered at the bank. We pay our bills. Yes, I like that. Definitely. Jay mentioned the advisors. There are also financial advisors at the bank, which cost you nothing. All you got to do, book an appointment with them and go in, ask them the questions, and they can be able to give you some financial advice. Okay, different bank reps. Exactly. So if you're looking in the chat, as you can see, quite a few different comments there about what other services that you can find at the bank. Some of them, these services are included with your bank account, and some of them might cost you a little bit extra. Just to get information, I don't know of any bank that would charge you for that, to just go in and get information, because why? They wanted to have you as their customer, right? So they are going to be willing to sit down, show you their different products, go through it with you, and help you to make that right decision that will work for you. Okay. So we'll review some common bank services now. Okay. If you think you might want to use one of these services, just ask a customer service rep at the bank whether it's included with your bank account and if it has fees attached to it. Many banks will offer packages of these different services, packages that you pay a monthly fee and get a bunch of things included as a bundle. All right. So when you get these packages, read about them carefully so you can choose the best package that makes the most sense for your life. Not for your brother, not for your sister or your neighbor. What makes sense for you. That way, you won't pay extra fees for services you don't need and will not be using. So you're not going to get an account where, you're paying probably $15 a month for unlimited transactions, but guess what? You're only using 10 transactions a month, where there's a package, $4 per month, that allows you to use 12 transactions. You want to make the right decision that works for you. Okay. So the next 6 slides that we're going to look over shows different services that can get from the bank. You can spend as much or as little time on each. We're just going to go through them, and let me know if you want me to take more time in going through these at 6 slides, or we just want to move through them. Okay. All right. So account statements. Your statement is a list of all the transactions that you make in a month. It shows how much money you have, how much money you deposited, and how much money you spent or withdrew over the last month. It also shows any interest or fees that came in or went out on your account. You can get your account statement in the mail or online. One thing I would say to everyone, if you're not yet doing this, when you get your account statements, take a moment to look at your statement. Take you not even 5 minutes. Why do I say that? You never know, something might just pop up on there where you have no idea what that is. And it's quick and easy. You see a transaction on there and you have no clue what it is. Pick up the phone, call the bank, or take the statement, go into the bank and say, I'm not aware of this. They will do an investigation. And if it is found that, you had nothing to do with whatever transaction it is, more than likely that amount of money is going to be deposited back into your account. Okay, so look at your statements. It could be $5, it could be $10, $100. Look at the statement, because remember, each $5 adds up, especially when you're trying to save. Okay, direct deposit. This is when you get paid. When you get paid directly into your bank account instead of getting a paper check. So for example, you could get your paycheck or your Government of Canada payments direct deposited right into your bank account. All right, so this is one that I use. So for instance, when I do my taxes, I get a statement in the mail, but the money is deposited right into my account. Online banking, I know we kind of touched on that. Some people like this, some people don't, right? This is just an option that you have where you use the internet to see how much money is on your account, pay your bills, deposit checks into your account. And sometimes you can also do this using a banking app on your phone, all right? So we can talk more about the online banking later in the workshop. So in the next one, we're going to look at international money transfer or wire payment. So this is a transfer or payment that lets you send money to family and friends in other countries. So you send in money, whether it's to the Caribbean, to Europe, to the States, wherever it is, it's a money transfer or a wire transfer. When credit cards are, when you use a credit card, the bank loans you money, okay? Just that they're not giving you a lump sum of money and say here. The credit card is literally the bank giving you the money to buy something that you might need now. You don't pay the money back in full every month, but I would highly recommend that you do, okay? Because if you don't pay the full amount back, you will pay interest on the total amount that you owe, all right? It's very important to be careful not to spend more than you need on a credit card. So my recommendation for using a credit card is this. If you're gonna buy an item and the item costs, say $50, right? And you have that $50, take the $50, put it aside, use the credit card at the end of the month when the bill comes in, pay the $50 onto the credit card statement so you're not paying a cent more. Again, each penny, it adds up, all right? Loans for cars and homes. So you're buying a home, you're buying a car. It's a big investment. And many people take out a loan from the bank to help them make these big purchases. You will usually make monthly payments until you've paid off the loan. On these, you're going to be paying the interest on there. So you want to pay interest on a home, or you want to pay interest on just buying a drink on a credit card. Let's save the interest payment for big ticket items. Okay. So some questions that you'll ask your bank when you're looking for loans or, things like these. Before you choose a bank, it's important you think about what your needs are. What services are most important to you, right? Like I said before, this is going to be a personal journey that you're on. What do you want to know about a bank before you set up an account there? Which 3 services are most important to you? Okay. I have some question ideas to share, and I'd like us to brainstorm. So you can pop it in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself as we can talk about it. I'd like to know, or you can write this down in your books, in your workbooks that you have, okay? Write down the 3 questions that are the most important to you. And I'll give you probably about a half a minute to do that. So just write down 3 important questions that you think are most important to you. And you can do this on page 19 of your workbook. All right, so think about these. Does the bank have branches and bank machines near your home, school, or work? I like that question, Gabriella. How's my credit score? Is there an appointment online, banking? What are the fees? Definitely, Jade, definitely. You want to know about the banking hours as well. As Jade mentioned, what are the fees for the accounts that you want? So again, you're going to shop around because not all banks are going to have the same fees, right? How much interest will I earn on my savings account? You know, what can I write a check? And if you write a check, do I pay a fee to write a check? Does it cost money to order the checks? Definitely the currency. How can I maximize my savings, right? Will I pay extra if I use a different bank machine? And if so, how much? How can my money grow? How much are the fees? Are the bank's customer service representatives friendly and willing to answer my questions? How can I get information about my account online? And is there an app for online banking? So if these are all things that are important to you, and thank you very much for the participants in the chat, right? Do you have student services? And a lot of banks might have student accounts. So we want to make sure we're asking the right questions, all right? We want to be prepared, okay? It's okay to be nervous about visiting a bank or to open an account, especially if you've never done that before, okay? So preparing for your visit before you go can always help and make you feel confident and make you feel comfortable. If you want to visit the bank first, just to kind of walk in, look around, you know, take some pamphlets so you have an understanding of what they're offering, book the appointment, definitely do that, whatever's going to make you comfortable, all right? So now it's time to act out, setting up a bank account, right? Just for the time, for the interest of time, I'm probably going to skip this activity and I'll ask you guys to just think about it on your own, right? You're going to be setting up an account at a bank. Think about educated questions. Yes, very, very much, Eddie. I like those questions. So it's just helping you to be prepared for when you actually do that in person or on the phone. Because I now with everything online, so there are some banks that we can open the accounts online. Okay. You can go in person, you can do it over the phone, or you can go online and do the banking, get the information that you need. All right. Most importantly, you got to think safety. All right. Banking is a safe means of securing your funds, securing your money. So be comfortable in doing so when you're doing it. All right. Okay. So here are some things that you can do with online and mobile banking. There's so much out there that you can do. There are different banks that let you do different things with online banking. Like I mentioned before, you can open a new account or you can pay your bills. You can visit or call your bank to ask them about their online and mobile banking services as well. All right. So check your bank account and activity and balance. I know some of us, if not all of us, might be already doing this on our phones. You can pay your bills, move money between your bank accounts. You can send money to others by using e-transfers. So those are some things that are on our fingertips that will help us to get, you know, moving. But even though we're doing that, we don't want to be just stagnant. I know earlier someone had said, you know, online banking seems to be for seniors, right? So we can still do that because we all live a busy life. But while you're doing that online, keep it moving. You know, be active. Always be doing something. All right. So the next 3 money words that we're coming up on is online banking, which we've touched on a bit. That is when you use your bank account on a computer or when you, as soon as you're connected to the internet, whether on a computer, an iPad, or a mobile phone, whatever device you're using, when you're connected, you can do online banking. Mobile banking is pretty much the same, you know, but now this one is not on the computers, on your smartphone or your iPad, your tablet. You know, you're using the banking app for the mobile banking. And e-transfer is when you send the money to someone else over the internet using whether it's a computer, tablet, or a smartphone. Okay. All right. So what are some reasons you might prefer to use online banking? What are some reasons you might prefer to visit the bank in person? And does one of these options seem better to you? If so, if you're comfortable sharing, why? Personally, I use both. I use online banking for like pay my bills and things like that. But if I want to deposit, if I have cash that I want to put in, I'd rather go to the bank, inside the bank, and not at the bank machine. And that's because of experience that I've had doing that. So it's all about what you're comfortable with. Definitely convenience. Online banking can be faster. You don't have to wait in the line, especially with COVID right now. You know, you still have to maintain your distance, right? Depends on what I need to do. Definitely. Okay. And I have to just go back to the chat to see. Definitely. If you're going in for, say, a loan or something, you might want to do it in person. You know, it depends on the information that you're seeking. Definitely. So again, it's a personal choice. You just have to be comfortable with it. In-person deposit cash, you can take a photo of the check, cannot take a picture of exactly Canarsie. You can do the mobile banking with your check, but not so with your cash. Now, does anyone know what phishing scams are? Anyone? All right. So when you're banking online, it's important to take steps to keep yourself and your money safe from scams like phishing calls or emails. If you think an email, call, or text message is phishing, don't reply or share any information with them, okay? So one thing I would say, if you're someone who banks online and you might get a text or an email that says, oh, your account has been compromised, click on this link to change your password. Please do not click on any link, okay? If you have any concern that your account might be compromised, pick up the phone and call the bank. If someone calls you, you get one of those calls that says, you know, your credit card has been compromised, please press do not, just disconnect the phone, all right? Any concerns, it's better for you to call the bank because you know who you're calling. If you get a live person on the phone and say, hi, I'm calling from, you know, your bank, you know, your card has been compromised, you know, can we have you verify your password? No. A bank will not ask you to verbally give them your password or any personal information like that. If you call to the bank, their regular number, they will verify you with some personal information, right? But they are not going to be asking you to give them your PIN number or any credit card PIN number, anything like that, okay? If someone asks you for that, disconnect the call and find yourself into the bank would be my recommendation. All right, do not click on a link in any email that is asking for your personal information at all. All right, so phishing scams try to steal personal information from you. They usually pretend to be from someone you trust, like a family member or a bank. So a scam is an illegal plan to trick people and steal from them, where phishing is a scam that uses email, phone calls, or text messages. And I'm sure if not, some of you, if not all, would have experienced this at some point in time. You're getting that phone call. One of the recent ones that I had was I got a call on my work phone, mind you, that told me that the package that I have shipped has been confiscated at the border. Now, I have not shipped anything to anyone. So right away I knew that was not me, okay? But again, if you're not sure, just ask for their number. Do not give any personal information at all. Just ask for their number, and then you can take it from there, okay? So I know we're approaching the 7 o'clock hour. Before continue, just want to confirm, Jasmine, that it's okay for us to go to continue.
Yes, we can continue. Unfortunately, Prakash has to leave. Thank you so much, Prakash, for your time and your sharing all of your tips and tricks as well. But please, Nordia, keep going.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thanks, Shetty. All right. So again, you know, scam and phishing, we need to be alert. We need to be safe. We need to be comfortable when we're doing these things, right? But at the same time, do not let your guards down. The worst part is that you cannot see who's on the other side of the computer, you know. Yes, banks and micro, definitely. So as I say to some of my clients, you know, through work, someone is calling you, they say they're calling from the bank. If you're not too sure, say to them, I can't speak right now. Let me take your number and call you back. Do not call the number they gave you. look up the card, your bank information number. A lot of us on your bank, if it's credit card, the number is on the back of your card. I believe it's on some of your debit cards. Call the bank number that you know, not the number that they gave you. All right? I cannot stress that enough, please. All right, so we're just going to take a look at some phishing emails. So here's an example of a phishing email. All right, let's spot the clues that this is illegitimate. This is illegitimate. All right. So anyone, before I kind of dive into it, anyone wants to take a go at it? You know, let me see. What if you got this in your email box? What would be your thought process? Anyone? So it's coming from the local bank. Action required, information incomplete. It's saying to Ali, and then it says, dear customer.
Right away, you know. Sorry, right away, you know it's fraud because your name is not on it. After the at part there, it says at GR, whatever. It doesn't say at Royal Bank. It doesn't say at TD. And also it says that there's so many red flags. There's nothing specific from their end or our end. So, you know, don't click it, delete it, block it, do not respond or follow it.
Thank you. I love that. I love that. Definitely. Sometimes a phishing email doesn't use your name, right? Phishing emails might use a different word like a customer, right? So dear customer, customer could be anybody, could be my brother, my kid, anybody, right? They also always have mistakes, like words that are spelled wrong. Professional emails from your bank probably won't have mistakes in it like that, okay? So if we're looking at this one here, as you know, it was mentioned, we're looking at, okay, if you look at the from local bank at GR, which bank do you think is going to be from GR? The bank want to publicize themselves, so it would have said at localbank.com, right? So we just have to take a minute and take a look at these things just to be careful what it is, where it's coming from, and how we're dealing with it, okay? Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna go back upstairs. Okay. The joys of working from home. I'm sure some of you have experienced this.
Well, one other thing I just wanted to point out there quickly is that where it says to Ali, it doesn't say Mr. or Sir or Madam. Mm-hmm. Also, if your real name is not in your email, say it says Raptor fan, it would probably say to Raptor fans. So you know immediately not to go through with that because it's not your actual government name first and last.
Exactly. So thank you very much for that comment. Definitely. So these are areas that we want to look at, right? They usually ask you for personal information. Okay. It usually asks for personal information. So if you notice in the subject line, action required, incomplete information, that's another thing. It's a call to action and it wants to make it seem as if it's urgent. If you get an email from your bank, you see action required. More than likely, a lot of us are going to be like, oh, what's going on? You know, I got to respond right away. No, pump the brakes, put a stop on it. All right. Take a closer look. Banks don't ask for personal information in emails or text messages. So you never give up personal information online or in a text. All right. And a lot of banks today, if they're sending you an email, it's going to be an encrypted email that you might have to go in. If it's the first one you're getting, you're going to have to create a password. And, you know, it's not going to be just open and so easy for you to just click on it and get that now. All right. Phishing emails might send you to a website where they will steal your personal information. So usually official website says HTTPS instead of HTTP. So that's another red flag right there. So the extra S stands for secure. So if you don't see that S on there, do not proceed. All right. When they do these emails, they try to have them look like they're really coming from your bank or another trusted source. Even if an email has the right logo or the right email address, or the email address looks right at first glance, it still might be a phishing email. All right. It could be just one letter in the email address. For instance, if this was say, and I'm going to just use, yes, if I'm going to use TD only because I work for TD, you know, local bank, it's going to say TD .ca or .com. In some instances, instead of it being TD, it might be TB.com. Now, if you don't look closely, you may not see the difference in letters. All right. So these are how they catch a lot of people with these phishing scams. All right. Now, can you think of any other clues that an email is phishing? Or have you ever gotten a phishing email or a call? And how do you know it was phishing? Anyone?
Also, another thing too would be the spelling. Also, it's not just spelling errors, but even just like Canadian spelling. So if you get a message saying banking center, CENTER, you know a Canadian bank would spell it RE, so you know it's international and definitely a fake.
Right. Good. Phishing calls usually have an automated voice. Yes, they usually do. They usually do. I've recently, I think one that I got, it sounded like someone was on the line. And I'll tell you this, if you're ever in doubt, push back. If someone is calling you with a scamming call and you ask certain questions, it's the fastest that you're gonna get hanged up on. They're gonna disconnect that call. Yes, when they call asking for your name, person info, right away, no, they don't. All right, they call and confirm first they're speaking with the right person before they jump into it, right? And then like I said before, passwords and stuff, they're probably not going to ask you about it. And if you're ever in doubt, and I've received calls from TD that were legit, but at the time it didn't sound, it sounded a bit off. So all I said to them, I said, okay, you know what? I'm not sure you're calling from the bank. So how about I call you right back? Give me the number you're calling, I'll call you back, right? And it just so happened that I called the number that I have for them, and the person I spoke to couldn't understand, didn't have a clue as to who was calling me or why they were calling me. You know, it was sometime after they're like, yeah, someone else had called you, but they hadn't noted it as yet. So at the same time, if you're in doubt at all, if you're ever in doubt, just a little, you don't have to be in doubt a lot, just a little bit, right? Put the brakes on and call the bank yourself, okay? Okay, so here's another email. Let's find the clues that this one is a phishing scam, or if it is a phishing scam. Dear taxpayer, after review of your 2018 tax forms, we have determined that you are eligible for a tax refund of $362.58. To claim your refund, fill out the form on the Canada Revenue website, and it gives you HTTP, and it gives you the rest. Sincerely, Canada Revenue Agency. Do you guys think this is a scam or?
It's a scam. Two things that pop out immediately. It's called Revenue Canada, not Cavenue Canada Revenue. Oh, sorry, Canada Revenue Agency. But okay, the email should be .ca. It will not be .com. So that immediately is a red flag right there.
Okay. Anything else?
Your name is not on it once again. So you definitely know that that is a fake there.
Okay. What about here? I don't know if you can see my cursor.
The S again, HTTPS.
Exactly. Very good catch, Audit. And what was it? And this is a big red flag right here. See? The S is not there to secure that. Okay. And why is it going to give you the link to click on there? How about it just gives you the website that you can go to yourself?
Okay? It also doesn't point you back to the website for you to log into your Revenue Canada website account. So that also is a red flag.
It just gives you the link to click on. So when you're getting emails that are saying for you to click here, be wary of clicking anywhere. Okay, so very good, guys. And thanks for the participation. All right, so what do you think about phishing? Don't reply to the email. Don't share any information about the sender. Don't share any information with the sender. Do not, and I stress, do not open or click on any links in the email at all, okay? Search online for the organization's number, contact the organization and ask if they sent you an email. If they did, then they can tell you what the email was about. Mark the email as spam. Delete the email. All right. So for us, some of you guys, especially for work and stuff, you might have limited access. So for me personally, like certain emails might come in, if it's not recognizable, then it doesn't come into my work, to my my mailbox. I'll get a notification that there's an email sitting there and they're not sure if it's spam or not. So then I have to go in and enter some password and stuff to release it if it is a legit email. All right. So we want to be mindful of some of these things when we're doing online banking. Just remember, just like how if you're walking to the store with a bag of cash, you want to secure that bag of cash. If you're going to be online, think online banking safety. All right. Online banking is a great way to keep track of your spending and savings, but it is also important to be careful when you're using the internet. All right. Okay, so now let's make a list of ways to use online banking safely. Okay. It is important to create a strong password when you sign up for online and mobile banking. A weak password is easy for anyone to guess. You have hackers out there, that's all they do all day. All right. A strong password would be very hard to guess. So making a strong password, you want to have a mix of numbers, small letters, capital letters, and symbols. Whichever way you want to put it in, just make make sense to you. All right. Some people, some things, you know, you're doing a password. Some people can, you know, like you can use a phrase that means something to you, but you're not going to write out the phrase, right? So you might take maybe the first letter of each word from the phrase. Some letters you might switch into numbers and so forth. So there are different ways in which you can, you know, create a strong password. It may not make sense to myself, but it do make sense to you. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit. Did you learn something new about banking that you did not know? Anyone? Did anyone learn anything new? Did anything surprise any of you that we've gone through today? Do you feel more comfortable about using a bank? All right. Yes, thanks, Audit. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to learn that would increase your confidence about banking? Anything? Yes, you can, Audit. You can open a US account in a Canadian bank. Yes. So did you have a specific question for those, Jade?
Not per se right now, but like it is something I'm interested in getting to know a little bit more, because I think it's like kind of the best way to maximize your money besides a TFSA, right? So
okay. So I'm gonna put the spotlight on you, Jasmine, and your team. We've got one person who's interested in knowing more on different accounts and so forth. So I know you're going to be doing some behind the scenes work on trying to get some more information there, but definitely. So there are other workshops that does talk more into in-depth banking that we can look into for other workshops, for sure. Okay, so if everything that we've gone over so far, if you've got questions that might come up later on, just send an email over to Jasmine for sure. And then, you know, if it's questions she can answer herself directly, she can direct it over to us. And we can definitely, you know, send the responses back. Okay. All right. So money challenge for you. Visit excuse me, visit or look up a bank close to where you work, live, or go to school. I want you to find out. Sure. I want you to find out, does it offer what you want in a bank? If not, try another bank until you are satisfied. Again, this is when you're talking about your money, this is your
Sorry, Nordia, are you still there? No.
Looks like we lost Nordia.
Okay. Okay. I was a little worried that I'm the one who's lost because I cannot turn on my camera. And Nicole says she has to leave. So sorry, Nicole. But if you are able to, please feel free to leave your email address. Everyone, please feel free to leave your email address because our goal is to connect with you afterwards so that we can forward some of the additional resources on investments and opening a US account as well, and any other topics that you have in mind. Hopefully Nordia can rejoin us. But in the meantime, if there's any topics that anybody else would like to learn more about, please, again, feel free to let us know, drop them in the chat as well, and we can do some digging on some resources for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, a side note or slightly off topic issue here. She mentioned about if your bank, what you're getting from the bank is not working for you, that you're able to just go and switch banks before anybody does anything very hastily or out of anger or because of bad customer service. Just make sure that you have all your information moved first before you close the previous account, whether it's the payments from the government, your direct deposit for work, because I'd hate to hear that somebody out of anger closed an account and now their stuff is going to be, their payments will be delayed coming in. So just keep that in mind, folks.
Very wise information. Thanks, Canarsie.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, we're keeping our fingers crossed that Nordia can rejoin us. We understand that we've run past our expected end time, so we understand that some people have to leave. We really appreciate your time and you coming out tonight, and we hope we can reconnect. Oh, here's Nordia. We can reconnect with you all soon.
Okay, Nordia, you're on mute.
My apologies about that. I think I just got kicked out of my system here. My apologies.
No worries.
Where did you guys lose me?
Oh my goodness. Do you remember, Tashana?
Just wrapping up the last bit in regards to just inquired information. Yeah, if anyone had any questions to forward over to us, I think that's where you left off.
Okay, perfect. So I was saying, thank you guys, especially for those who participated. We've come to the end of the workshop. So if you have any questions or please feel free to ask them. If questions pop up after the workshop is over, please reach out to Jasmine and her team that she can forward those over to me, and I will definitely send a response over. I know someone was asking for how they can contact us. I would say go through Jasmine. Okay. Yeah. If that's okay with you, Jasmine, I'm just gonna throw you right under the bus right there.
No worries, I'm good. I got it. And I'm actually going to just share my screen once more because we have hopefully you can see my screen.
You're good.
With our information on there. So there's our email address, our website. We also have affiliated website with our operations director, Chetty, motivating.academy. He did share a link earlier in the presentation just on information that he's collected about credit scores as well. And we could also forward this out to everyone as well. And our phone number is there as well. So if you'd like to connect with us afterwards, please feel free to do so. We're hoping to do another one of these presentations later on this year as well. And the best way to find out when that will be and what topic we'll be discussing as well is by staying connected with us. So, and Nordia, we just have to give you just big props, big thank you to you and your time and everything that you put into this presentation, along with Prakash, who unfortunately had to leave early. We really appreciate having you here, and hopefully we can work together again in the future.
I definitely look forward to that, Jasmine. Whatever you guys need, just let me know. Just let me know. So thank you guys again for having me.
All right. And thank you everyone again for your time, for asking all your fantastic questions. We hope to stay connected with you and stay safe. Have a great weekend and have a great rest of your evening.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Take care,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.